Well, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a 6-month look ahead using the CFS version 2 model today. I did it last month and it proved quite popular, and I asked on Facebook and Twitter for some suggestions about what we could do for today's video, and one or two people did suggest that we could do another 6-month look ahead from the CFS model, or certainly look at the CFS model and see what it's showing. There's also some fantastic suggestions for historic videos. I've made lists of all those historic video suggestions, and they will be turning up. I promise they will be turning up over the next few months and years. I did the historic video, of course, on Thursday. It's Thursday, wasn't it? For the summer of 2003. I'll be doing another historic video, at least one more, in August for the summer of 1995, hoping to also get the winter of 95-96 done with that video as well, or around the same time that video, because I see the summer of 95 and the winter of 95-96 as kind of being a double sort of feature, so I'll hopefully get both those historic videos done this month. So lots of historic videos coming up, and I thought as the CFS 6-month look ahead was popular last month, why not do it again this month? Actually, it could become a regular feature. I may do it the first Sunday every month at Gansworth, is something like that, so it could well be that the 6-month look ahead from the CFS model is a regular feature. Before I get on with the video, though, I'll talk about the advertising, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of Facebook pages. There's keyword ads on my pages at gasworthbiz.com. If you roll your cursor over the keywords, they'll display as, but if you click through the word, click through the ad, you go to the advertised website, and by doing that you support gasworthbiz.com, and thanks very much for doing that. So the first Facebook page I just want to give a little plug to is this one, Weather Watch UK. It's a wonderful site from my good friend Matt, who is a regular commenter on the weatheroutlook.com forum. There's a fantastic forum at the weatheroutlook.com. If you haven't been to that forum, do check it out. It's a wonderful forum. I have spent many a happy hour there over the last, so it must be 12 or 13 years now. So fantastic forum, and Matt, who runs this page, Weather Watch UK, is one of the people who post at Weather Outlook forum. And I said, because his page is so wonderful, he's such a good guy, that I'll give him a bit of a plug at the start of one of my videos, and this is it. So Matt, there's your plug. It's Weather Watch UK on Facebook. Do check out that Facebook page if you get the chance. And while I'm talking about Facebook, I might just as well give my own Facebook page a bit of a plug. This is the Gavs Weather It's Facebook page. Launched this a few weeks ago. Do check it out and give me a like, and kind of use the facility at Facebook to sort of comment on the videos, let me know what you think about videos and all that kind of thing. So that's the Facebook page for Gaz Weather Viz. Do have a look at that, and remember, Weather Watch UK, do check both of those Facebook pages out when you get a chance. So let's get on with the video and the CFS version 2 6-month look ahead. Now we're going to use the website MeteoSeal for this particular look ahead. You can find MeteoSeal on my links page, or you can find the link to MeteoSeal on my links page. It is broken down into monthly anomalies. So we're going to go first of all through the sea level pressure anomaly for the next 6 months. Then we'll have a look at the temperature anomaly and the precipitation anomaly that corresponds with those sea level pressures. So we're going to start off with September. This is the sea level pressure anomaly from CFS for September 2013. Should just say this is updating all the time. This model, it updates, I think it updates at least 3 times a day, MeteoSeal, maybe even 4. So if you're looking at that today, I'm doing the video on Friday evening. If you're looking at this today on Sunday expecting to see these anomalies, you'll see something different, because it's always updating. And what you have to do with this really is keep monitoring it, keep checking it, not every run, but certainly at least once a day, to see what it's showing, and day by day you should start to see trends and patterns emerging, particularly early on in the period. Of course, as you get later out, it'll tend to get more and more scattered, but you can't really take one run in isolation, although that's what I'm doing a little bit with this video, so that is the caveat about this. But anyway, the website is MeteoSeal. You can see certainly CFS version 2 model, not these particular charts probably, but you can see the CFS version 2 model via Meteosil, via my links page. So this is the sea level pressure anomaly for September, first of all, and what we're looking at here is a big area of high pressure sitting in the Atlantic, a big area, anomalous area of above average pressure sitting in the Atlantic, going up towards Greenland as well through September, and a trough of low pressure sitting around and to the east of the country, actually centred around the Baltic and in towards Denmark as well. So what we'd be looking at here is quite a cool month actually, and northerly, a lot of northerly flows, probably not particularly westerly based, but could still be quite unsettled actually of that low pressure sitting to the east of us. Would certainly be the suggestion that there'd be showers, longer spells of rain, and probably more actually for England and Wales, to be honest, from that. I think Scotland and Northern Ireland could be dry, but England and Wales could be quite wet from that sort of pressure anomaly. We'll have a look at the temperature and precipitation in a moment, but certainly that's a pretty cool and miserable looking September from the CFS model. For October, well, it's the same sort of idea. The high pressure is more centred in the mid-Atlantic there, the anomalous high pressure. Pressure has lowered a little bit over Greenland, and with lots of pressure to the east of the country, so maybe with that we'd be getting more sort of ridging taking place, certainly to the north of the country, but to the south we're still under relatively weak pressure, so I think there could be some areas of pressure coming through here at times, and generally it's another pretty cool looking anomaly with winds tending to come from a north or a northeasterly direction through much of the period. So I think September and October both looking quite poor there from the CFS version 2. This is the anomaly for November, and what we're looking at for November is again a big blocking area of high pressure, anomalous area of height sitting over Greenland, stretching in towards Iceland as well. We've got low pressure tracking to the south of the country. That's a proper negative NAO sort of signal. The jet stream is quite strong coming through the Atlantic, and it's going something like that across the country. So I think with that we're looking at a more unsettled month, certainly with these areas of low pressure sitting to the south. There will be quite a lot of rain coming through probably, although heights actually to the north are a little bit above average. That's quite a complicated looking pressure pattern, but really that could be quite cold again. I think you would tend to be favouring at least northerly or northeasterly winds with that quite a bit. December, looking at high pressure really dominating through December, a big anomalous area of high pressure sitting there around the country. The main centre of it is still more or less to the north. It's still towards Scandinavia and going up towards the north of Greenland. The low pressure is out here in the Atlantic. That could be quite a dry looking signal for November actually. A lot of high pressure influences going there. Could be a lot of frost and fog if that one is right through December, sorry I should say. Into January, this is the anomaly for January. This looks really quite cold. I've spoken about this a lot over the last few weeks. I've been telling you that the CFS model is predicted a cold January. It's still going for it on this particular update anyway. High pressure is an anomalous area of high pressure sitting around Scandinavia, and again stretching out towards Iceland, going to the north of the country. The low pressure is all down to the south. It's down there around the Azores, with running a jet stream through something like that, so it's tracking to the south of the country. And that high pressure sitting up to the northeast, the air would be very frequently coming from a north or a northeasterly or an easterly sort of direction. So that again is looking like another cold signal for January. What the CFS model is picking up for January, I'm just not sure, but it's doing it so often, indicating this cold January scenario. Often it's more extreme than what we're seeing there actually. Often the charts are off the scale in terms of the blocking. It's not as extreme as that, but that's a cold enough signal for January anyway. For February, it's the same sort of idea. So if this is right, we are probably looking at quite a coldish sort of winter. Actually, the high pressure is sitting to the north of the country again as an anomaly. Through February, it's over Scandinavia as well. Low pressure is closer to us here. It's sitting to the south of the country. And the jet stream is coming through something like that. typically, so jet stream running through the country, but with all this blocking, there will be plenty of cold interludes, I think, coming down from the north and the northeast. It's a very untypical sort of chart, that in terms of that high pressure to the north of the country, and it goes on into March as well. March is also being forecast to have a lot of blocking sitting to the north of the country. Again, the low pressure is all to the south of the country, so again we would be looking at a lot of northerly and northeasterly influences through the course of January, February and March. With that, for the temperatures to correspond, with these anomalies, pressure anomalies. Well, for September, we're looking at a cooler than average month, not surprising with that anomaly. For October, again, we're looking at a colder than average month. Could be anything up to 2 degrees colder than average. That's quite substantially colder than average month. And that's the same for September. Actually, September could be anything up to 3 degrees colder than average. So they're a pair of really cool months, September and October. For November, it's indicating near normal temperature, but I think with that, you've got to be factoring in a lot of frost and fog. For December, well, actually, surprisingly, this does surprise me for December. The anomaly is around or above normal. Now, it's a very anticyclonic December, so you will perhaps not be that cold a lot, but certainly lower down under that those sort of anticyclonic influences. Remember, these are anomalies for the month, so we do deviate from this at times, but I would expect a colder than average month really with that, because I think in December, with that sort of high pressure anomaly, you would expect a lot of frost and fog going on. January inevitably is colder than average, not surprising with that high pressure sitting over Scandinavia. Look how cold it is again, being forecast for much of Central Europe. Temperatures anomalies for Central Europe, 8 degrees below average in some places. That is exceptionally severely cold. And whilst we're not that cold in the British Isles, because we're on the periphery of it, we're near say 2 to 3 degrees colder than average, but that's really cold anomaly for much of Europe, and with easterly winds, of course, we'd be tapping into that cold air quite a lot. You can't take this too literally. You've got to use it as a general signal, and with Europe being signalled to be that cold generally, we will probably be a lot colder than that, particularly with the pressure setup. That really severely cold there for Central Europe in January, and it's an ongoing sort of idea from the CFS model. For February, the central parts of Europe do actually warm a little bit, but very cold though, very cold month again being forecast for February, with -8 anomalies there, temperature anomalies of 8 degrees below average, that is, for much of Scandinavia. Again, British Isles, we're not that cold, but we are anything from around average to a little bit below average. And then for March, again, we're back into the freezer across virtually the whole of Europe. Again, temperature anomalies in some parts of Europe, particularly Scandinavia, 8 degrees below average. Really, really cold period coming up through the autumn and winter, if the CFS version 2 model is to be believed. On this particular update for precipitation, for rainfall anomalies for September, we're looking at a drier than average month in the northwest, wetter than average in the south for England and Wales, looking at a wet month. For October, actually, it's near normal to a little bit drier than average. For November, wetter than average in the north, drier than average for England and Wales. For December, drier than average virtually everywhere. It's hardly surprising with that anomalous area of high pressure. So that's in line with the high pressure for December. You would expect it to be a dry month. But the temperatures, I'm just not convinced that those temperature anomalies are quite right. I think that sort of high pressure influences, you would expect a cooler than average month. For January, well, we're drier than average in the north, wetter than average in the south. Notice actually in the southeast, we're wetter than average, we're near average for the rest of England. That's easterly winds. That's telling us there's easterly winds coming around at high pressure, and much of this precipitation would be snow with those easterly winds coming in off the North Sea. So that is quite interesting what that's picking up there. Same idea for February, actually wetter than average or average for England and Wales, drier up to the north. And then for March, again, very much wetter than average for England and Wales, drier than average for Scotland. And again, much of this across England and Wales, with that kind of pressure distribution, would be falling as snow. So very interesting charts to ponder there from the CFS model. if it's right, it looks as though we're going to have a pretty cool period coming up for September and October, and that's the most reliable period of the model because it's the closest to where we're at in August. So if it's right, we're looking at quite a cool pair of months in September and October, and potentially quite wet for England and Wales in particular in September. Now, going out beyond that, it is very much predicting on this particular run a colder than average winter. And particularly around January, the focus for January is very, very cold, severely cold again for much of Europe. It's an ongoing, repeating pattern from the CFS model, but it keeps going for this time after time after time. Sometimes it gets to us, sometimes it's less of an effect of us, but for the pattern itself, it's an ongoing forecast from the CFS model, which is for a very blocked pattern to take up residents through January, really cold for many central parts of Europe, and a colder than average winter generally is being favoured, and probably over the next 6 months, you have to say, excuse me, many of the months are coming out colder than average. So it's seeing no sign of a return to the heat and the dry weather that we had in July, no sign of that sort of pattern. In fact, if it's right, it looks like July very much a one-off, very much a freak month, and overall it looks like we're going back into the idea of much cooler conditions, and particularly again I have to emphasise focused around January, when the CFS model is just predicting really cold weather for many parts of Europe in January. As ever, this is all experimental, it's just for fun, don't take it too seriously by any means, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching, hope you found it interesting. Bye for now.